Hey guys, welcome to Sippin' and Spillin' with Sid from 3 Mississippi. How are you doing? I hope you're having a good day. It's a holiday for a lot of you today. It's President's Day. I hope some of you have it off. Frankie actually had to go to school, or has to go to school. I'm filming this right after church like I normally do on Sunday. She actually has to go to school because we had that whole week of ice storms, and then we had a tornado watch, like I think it was either right before or right after the ice storm. I can't remember. I think it was right before. And so they called off school, and then they called off school an extra day at the end of the ice storm because there were still a couple roads that were a little questionable. And so they had to take all the storm days that they had set aside, plus borrow President's Day to get them back on track for the school year. If there's any more days where they have to call off for weather, they'll have to take from spring break. So Frankie's hoping that doesn't happen because they do have a church trip planned for spring break. So we'll see about that. Hopefully we don't have any more warnings during school hours that they have to close down for anymore. We're what, more than halfway now through February. I don't know if we're gonna get any. They kept saying earlier this year that we were gonna get another ice storm in February, but we did get a little bit of a freeze last night. We got into the low 20s, and there was a top layer of ice, I'd say about that thick on the water troughs. But nothing crazy. It was a big weekend, you guys. Huge weekend. Mike actually did a lot of work in the shop, kind of reorganizing things, cleaning some things out, getting ready to start that electrical work. And I did a bunch of stuff. I kind of sort of just getting things ready for spring. I know we're in fall spring, but I had weeded out the garden bed. I did some work in there with some mulch. I redid the chicken coop run because it had gotten muddy. I never really got enough mulch in there to begin with when I did it the first time. And so I got a nice good layer in there now that should last for quite some time. And we moved the poultry netting, and just did a lot of little odds and ends, kind of getting ready for that. I still need to pressure wash the house before spring. It needs a good washing, but our pressure washer did not fare well in the move, unfortunately. So I think we're gonna have to at some point probably get another one, but we'll see. I might try to borrow one in the meantime from a friend, and get some of that pressure washing done. But because I do want to do like the front of the house and some of the other little areas that kind of need some zhuzhing, and get that done. But we also had another big surprise this weekend. Well, not really a surprise. I knew it was happening, but I guess more of a surprise for you guys. We had been talking about getting Caroline and Anne to be with child, and we decided that we were gonna go ahead and pull the trigger on that because we'd had to wait a while because the timing wasn't working out. So we currently, little spillage here, because that video on all of that probably won't be out until Friday. And so he is coming to stay with us for a little while, and hang out with the girls and hopefully get them preggers so that we will have babies around mid-July. So I'm hoping. Now, he has had kids with Caroline before. He's a Nigerian dwarf. Now, I know these kids are not going to be worth much because they're just a hot mess mix. However, they are still eatable, as I would say. They will be a much smaller goat, but we'll still get some meat out of it, number one. Number two, it'll throw my girls into milk. And that's the main thing. So if I can get the girls into milk and be able to milk them for a while after I get the kids weaned and all of that, and in between and all of those things, that would be really, really nice. So because I like to be able to freeze some of that and throw it in the freezer. So that is the plan, to be able to store up some of that, because I like to cook with it, and I like to use it for things. I like to make cheese, so I do like to have some of that, and I do make ice cream and stuff out of it. And Mike really likes the ice cream. Frankie has a real weird aversion to the goat's milk. She's even said, she's like, it's a total mental thing. She's like, I've watched you milk them. I see the milk in the refrigerator. She's like, I just can't bring myself to eat or drink anything that I know has come from that. I don't know why. She's tried it. She's like, I can just, like, when I eat it, I just mentally know that's where it came from, and it weirds her out. She's not like that with any of the meat that we've raised and processed. Nothing else has ever given her the ick. But for some reason, the goat milk and the goat milk products give her the ick. She'll kind of eat the ice cream a little bit once in a while, but very sparingly, and then she'll be like, I can't eat any more of it. Like, it's giving me like, meh. It never tastes goaty, like, that goat taste. Like, it's a lot of it's in how you process it and the breed of goat, and if the bucks are near it, and there's a lot of factors to your cheese or your milk and all that having that what people refer to as that goat taste. But generally speaking, you don't have that unless you really want to encourage it, basically. And for some reason, the commercially made goat cheese, they really encourage that kind of ruddy taste and smell to it. And I don't know why they've made that such a thing, because it's really not that great. Like, I think most people think they don't like goat cheese because they've had store-bought or whatever goat cheese. So most goat cheese, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference between what you would say is normal cheese or cow cheese and that. So and eventually when we get sheep, I will try doing some sheep milk, because that is supposed to be even more amazing than goat's milk. They are supposed to be, their nipples are weirder, so their teats, I should say, they're harder to milk, supposedly, because they are weird when you look at them underneath there, but I imagine they're a little bit easier when they're in milk, but they're just kind of off to the side a little bit more, whereas goats are more like straight down and more like an udder, more like a teat, like a full, anyway, they're like more like a nipple. I don't know how else to describe it. They're smaller. So they're just supposedly a lot harder to milk and all of that. But I'm going to try it at some point. Once we get sheep, I will try that. And see what all the fuss is about with that. But anyway, I do want to be able to get a bunch of goat's milk in the freezer. I still have some from this last year, which I think I'm probably going to, maybe after Lent's over, we'll be in, spring by then, and maybe I'll, pull out and make some ice cream with some of that frozen goat milk, and do that, kind of clear that out, make room for the new goat milk that's going to be coming in July. But speaking of freezers, with it being President's Day weekend, Mike and I were actually talking about, you guys know, we have the one freezer that kind of died on us. We had a guy come out and look at it, and he said it was actually the thermostat that was broken on it. So Mike ordered a new thermostat for it, and he's going to be replacing that. But we got the opportunity to receive basically a quarter of a steer. It's a long story as to how and why and all of that, but we got a really good deal on this quarter of a steer. Okay, so but because Mike got 2 deer and we're about to do 50 chickens followed very quickly by another 50 chickens. Freezer space for a quarter of a steer is non-existent. Even with the chest freezer, like there's not enough room. And yes, we will be pressure canning certain things and making things shelf stable, but even with that, there's just not, it needs more. So with it being President's Day weekend, we were thinking of going out and there's a couple good deals right now on some of the stand-up freezers that he wants, and getting another one of those. So I think we may be doing that this afternoon, which I have mixed feelings about. Number one, I always feel like Sundays get a little bit rushed because there's just always so much going on a lot of times. Like I'm usually trying to film and I'm trying to run some errands and I'm trying to get stuff done, and then I got to be back at church because Frankie has youth, and so there's always kind of a lot of running around. And I was already trying to figure out if I could squeeze in time to run to either Tupelo or West Point or somewhere. I was going to try to locate a few more bags of that sand without having to drive all the way to Tupelo or Starkville for it. I was going to see if I could find it in West Point, because it occurred to me right now that the good Walmart in West Point might possibly have more of that sand that I want to use in the coop, in the garden area, possibly. So, but I need to give them a call or look it up online and see if they do before I drive down there, because otherwise I could drive through there on my way to Starkville. So it's not like if they don't have it, I can't just keep going. It's no biggie. But that's 2 hours of driving. It's just a lot. So like the timing of everything, I just got to make sure my timing is good. So long story short, we may be going to get a freezer today. And I suspect potentially, because they are also running a deal right now where if you like get one freezer and you can get another appliance for like 20 to 30% off on top of the sale, and we need another refrigerator for the farmer's market, for the farmer's market harvest stuff. So as he's harvesting things, to be able to put them in there, we do have the one other separate, but that one is still not enough room for everything that he harvests to take to the market. So we do we do kind of need that. I'm not excited about spending all of that money on all of that stuff, but at the same time, it's, a legitimate write-off for for things that we need for the farmer's market, for the farm. So there's some things that you just kind of have to bite the bullet on and go, we need this, and just kind of do it. But that's okay. Then hopefully when it's done, it's done. I have to think back, but it will come in handy. It will also keep things from, in the summertime, he was having to bring them into the house in crates, and then he was like cranking down the air conditioner, like as he was sorting things. And I'm like, at least then he could sort it in there where it's cool, but then he can take it back out to the fridge. So, cause I told him, I said, we're not doing leaving everything on my dining room table for 4 months. I'm not doing that again. Like, it's just not happening. Figure it out. So if that means we need another refrigerator, I will happily say, let's get another refrigerator, and might as well do it during the sale. We did look at a lot of used ones. We've looked around. Nothing was quite right for what he was wanting. So, we'll see. So we'll see. I may tomorrow be telling you, guess what? We got a new freezer, or guess what? Something else broke. I hope not. I hope not, but we'll see. So, but 2 things you learned today. We might be getting a new freezer, and goat's milk gives Frankie the ick. So there you go. There you have it. Thank you guys. I appreciate you. As always, I hope you're having a very, very blessed day. And remember, safety's off.